returns, yield, interest, coupon, and many more. If you are someone who has read all these jargons and gotten confused, the next 5 minutes will give you a crystal clear picture of all these terms. We all know that interest in finance means the cost of borrowing or the compensation for lending money. But it is generally the terminologies related to these interests that often create confusion. Terms like yield, return, coupon, and likewise are wrongly used interchangeably, which may cause grave financial mistakes. Now let's start with something simple, the types of interest rates. Now we have simple interest and compound interest. Now let's see some school mathematics. Now simple interest is where if you have invested money, you earn a fixed interest on it every year. Now for example, if you invest ₹100 at a 10% simple interest rate, you will earn ₹10 at the end of the year as an interest, and your principal amount, that's ₹100, will be paid back to you after the set duration. And compound interest is little different. Now here you get interest on the principal plus interest on interest. Confused, right? Don't worry. Let's take some example from the compound interest. So if you invested ₹100 on 10% interest rate, you earn ₹10 as an interest on ₹100 in the first year. But in the second year, your principal is now ₹100 plus 10, that's ₹110. So in the second year, you will make 10% of ₹110, that's ₹11. Now similarly, in the third year, your principal amount is again ₹121 and your interest will be 12.10. Now do you see how your money gets multiplied every year? That's compound interest for you. That's the reason Einstein says that compounding is the 8th wonder in the world. It truly compounds your wealth. The next jargon is yield to maturity. The present value of all payments of the bond, that is the present value of its interest and principal, is the yield to maturity. You see, bonds typically pay interest over their maturity period. It may be 3 months, 5 years, 10 years, or could be anything. So if you want to calculate ROI of the bond that you hold till its maturity period, then your ROI is calculated using a formula that is known as yield to maturity. Now let's see the most important term, IRR, that's internal rate of return. Now let's take an example of SIP first. When you say you take a monthly SIP, now how will you calculate the returns? You have a regular stream of investments that you are making and one final amount you get as a corpus. In such a case, we use a metric known as IRR to calculate your returns. Technically, IRR is the annual rate of return that you get on your investment when there are multiple inflows or outflows. Now an extension of IRR is the XIRR. While IRR is the higher returns when the inflows or outflows are spread across regular intervals, XIRR is the return when the inflows and outflows are not regular. So if you have a monthly SIP, you can use IRR easily with your regular investments. But you have irregular lump sum investment, then you want to know what is your XIRR. Now the next thing is coupon. If you have ever invested or considered investing in bonds, you would have come across coupon. The coupon for a bond is nothing but the interest on the bond that issuer pays as an investor on the face value of the bond. Wait, what? What's the face value now? Well, face value is the price of the bond set by the issuer. So for a bond of the face value 100 and the coupon amount is 7% per annum, you as an investor will get ₹7 every year as an interest. But this coupon is calculated on face value. The actual market price of the bond could be different depending upon the demand, supply and market volatility. So essentially the ROI that you make on a bond will be different for every coupon. The next term is yield. Just like stocks, bonds have face value that is determined by the bond issuer and a market value which is determined by demand and supply. Now let's take the example as a ₹100 bond with a 7% coupon. Now say that the demand for the bond is very high and people are willing to pay ₹105 for the same bond. Now you therefore will buy it for ₹105. But here's the thing, the coupon for a bond is fixed and does not change. So ₹7 is the interest that you receive, but your investment is ₹105. This makes your effective ROI not 7%, but it's 7 divided by 105, that's 6.67%. That is your bond's yield. Now let's understand the next jargon, discount rate. The interest rate that is used to determine the present value of future cash flows is called discount rate. Now this can be understood with a very simple example. Let's take a scenario where you invest rupees 1000 in two different investments, that is option A and option B, and both, let us say, are debt instruments. Option A repays rupees 200 every year for 10 years, while option B repays 50 rupees every year for next 5 years. Now you want to discount both of these investments at 10%, assuming that is needed annual return you typically want in your investments. Now which one would you have preferred? Let's consider. So option A, that is cumulative repayment of rupees 2000 over 10 years for rupees 1000 that you invested today. And another is option B, that is cumulative repayment of rupees 1750 over 5 years for rupees 1000 that you invested today. If your answer is option A, you are not completely wrong in your thinking. That way you get rupees 250 more cash, that is compared to option B. But let us look at underlying numbers. Now option A, the net present value or NPV of future cash flows is rupees 228.91, while option B, the net present value of future cash flow is rupees 326.78. Now this is because the cash in hand early has more value and is always preferable, as it provides the chance to reinvest and can earn from it. Now in this example, option B wins over option A. In the world of finance, this is known as time value of money. The value of the amount today is higher than the future value of the same amount. And to calculate the present value of a future sum of money, we use discount rate. Now let me give you a formula to calculate discount rate. That's PV is equal to FV divided by 1 plus I exponent n. Now what are these numbers? So PV is present value, FV is future value, I is discount rate, and n is the number of years. Now let's take some numbers for better understanding. If you want to know what rupees 1000 5 years later will be valued today at discounted rate of 10%, you will use the formula that's PV is equal to 1000 divided by 1 plus 0.1 times 5. That's 620 rupees. So therefore, rupees 1000 5 years later discounted at 10% is worth rupees 620 today. Now that you know what are the different kinds of interest rates, we hope you'll be able to make better decisions with your money. If you need to know any other jargons or any other terms, comment us in the comment section below and let us know, and we'll make a video on it. Until then, stay tuned for more.